this edition of Southern Newsweek, the Dunedin City Council votes to turn the town's main street into a one-way road. Coronet ski field closes after being open just 65 days this season. And an old South Dunedin building is set to be replaced with a 3-storey office block. Kia ora, I'm Melissa Barton. Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins says a welcoming pedestrian-friendly main shopping street for the city is finally imminent. However, not all around the council or the city are happy with the idea of George Street becoming a one-way 10 km per hour slalom course.
Tuesday's 9 to 5 vote by Dunedin City councillors in favour of George Street becoming a 10 km an hour one-way street has raised concerns in the city's business community. However, Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins says one of the city's significant business stakeholders is supportive.
And certainly there is a spectrum of opinion within the local business community. Some are quite vocal and opposed, and that is understandable. Change is scary and people are anxious, particularly in the current business environment. But equally there's been feedback from businesses who are supportive, including the chair of the Chamber of Commerce's retail subcommittee who supported eventually the one-way southbound option. Now, if this was inherently bad for business and bad for retail, then I can't see how he would have come to that conclusion.
Dunedin City Councillor Jules Raddick has been one of the more vocal opponents of the idea, describing partial pedestrianisation as an outdated experiment.
And so there are many city centres around the world that are moving back from pedestrianisation. It was quite a trendy thing to do in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, pedestrianisation of city centres, and many have moved back. We only have to look at Christchurch to see how barren the square became once they took cars out and the shops all departed. And the shops are not departing because they don't like the barrenness, they're departing because there's no people there.
Businesses in Dunedin's CBD are concerned the scheme will reduce the ease in which people can get to the areas and believe it'll negatively impact on their businesses.
I think they should have left it as it is. I think that the businesses will fall away because of people can't get to the shops. I mean, it's all fine and good. Having the one way is better than having it completely pedestrianised. I think for the shops to be able to carry on, they're going to have to, for the customers to be able to come to the shops, they're going to have to be able to get to the shops, and the only way they're going to get there now is to park.
One street over from George Street, Greg Lapwood of Smith's Sports Shoes really feels for the retailers who'll be impacted. First by the construction work, and then by the projected drop in the amount of foot traffic. For the retailers in George Street, I just hope that they didn't get treated like I do, and the ORC wasn't particularly forthcoming with information and kept me in the dark a bit. And obviously the whole project was a bit of a disaster cost-wise and time-wise, and the amount of money that was wasted by doing some of the works 2 or 3 times. I would hope that the DCC are going to be more onto it than what the ORC was, and maybe the good thing is that it's a different construction company and a different design company, so maybe hopefully things are better. But the projected budget for the work to replace the ageing drainage system along George Street and then change the street's layout is said to be around $60 million. The council estimates the road to be operating from early 2024. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After a winter blighted by closed borders and lockdowns, Coronet Peak ski field closed recently, having been open only 65 days out of the usual 100 per season. Area manager Nigel Kerr says the field staff were among those hardest hit from this year's uncertainties.
It was the usual hijinks at Coronet Peak ski field's final day of the season, with ski area manager Nigel Kerr looking back on a second winter with COVID-19 and very few positives to celebrate.
The season started as a season with much promise, and as we got into it, that promise became less and less. First the Australians, We got in a little bit late to start the season. There was definitely a bit of a drought on snowfall. Snowmaking made a huge difference as we went into that late June into early July into the school holidays. But we had the school holidays and they were pretty good. A lot of people down enjoying it. And then as we got on a roll, getting through August, and then it ended. Lots of promise, not much delivery.
This year's disruption meant the ski field was only open 65 days as opposed to the usual 100, with a big impact on the ski field's staff.
I think the key thing that COVID's created for us is an issue of uncertainty. Uncertainty with the staff, uncertainty with planning, uncertainty with the future generally. I mean, anything like this creates a whole lot of, well, what's going to happen questions in people's mind. And I feel really badly for the staff. Particularly, I think the staff have had a really rough road through the tail of the season particularly, and a lot now very much up in the air as to what their next step is.
Kerr says the facility's snowmaking machines, as seen in this file footage from last year, proved their worth in maintaining the slopes.
Snowmaking has been the big recovery item for us here, and it really has worked miracles in turning us on time after time as these westerly storms have come through and stripped away the base.
Coronet Peak's sister ski field, the Remarkables, is set to close after the school holidays mid-next month. In Queenstown, the South Today.
Gold medal winning athlete Anna Grimaldi is set to take a break from training as she basks in the golden glow from Tokyo Paralympics. The Dunedin-based 24-year-old visited her training ground at the Caledonian, where many fellow athletes enjoyed seeing her medal.
Returning to her training ground as a spectator, Tokyo 2020 gold medal winning long jumper Anna Grimaldi was politely swamped by friends keen to catch up and touch her gold medal. Even though she's been a professional long jumper for a few years, she says it wasn't always on the cards.
It was always something that, you know, as a kid I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I knew that I wanted sport to be involved, and for it to be my career at the moment is pretty special. I get to do what I love every day and challenge myself every day, and it be my job is just sort of the icing on the cake, yeah.
The New Zealand Paralympian leapt to the gold medal in the T47 long jump at the Tokyo Paralympics earlier this month. She's just out of 2 weeks managed isolation on the way back from Tokyo and can recall her lead-up to the gold medal winning jump.
I was completely nervous until it was my last jump, you know, the last jump of the competition, and I hadn't counted, I made sure not to count my chickens before they'd hatched.
Grimaldi says she didn't think growing up she'd be a professional athlete, but is glad, and says she lacked confidence as a youngster, but found confidence in sport. She hopes others may be inspired by her story so far.
Growing up, I was always really worried about what people would think and how people would react to me having one hand, and I was just, I think, not confident in myself. But I mean, after putting myself out here and showing people what I can do and that I'm not that different to everyone else, that I've just got some extra challenges. I mean, the amount of people that have been accepting, encouraging, and it's especially in the Dunedin community, I think I've been blown away by how supportive they've been my entire life. And I think there's been opportunities that I haven't put myself out there because I was worried about what people would think. And that was exactly this opportunity. I got an opportunity to come along and try athletics, and I was too nervous that people would be judgmental or not like me because I had one hand. But I mean, if I hadn't have been brave enough to do it, then I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have this career. I wouldn't be doing what I love and being able to share it with so many people. So I think you've just got to take any opportunity, and the worst that you can do is it doesn't work out and you're still where you are. And but if it does, it could change your life, and it did to mine. So
she says she kind of regrets not taking a break after the 2016 games and is now planning a few months off to concentrate on Anna Grimaldi the person, not Anna Grimaldi the gold medal winning athlete. However, when she's done resting, she intends to hit training hard and believes she can beat her personal best of 5 metres 91 centimetres and is looking forward to flying high in Paris. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Work on demolishing several buildings in South Dunedin to make way for a new build could start before Christmas. The property developer behind the initiative says he's hoping to have a 3-storey office and retail space open by the end of next year.
South Dunedin's shopping precinct is set to get a boost thanks to property developer Justin Stott's plans to demolish the old fire-damaged Wolfden and Russell clothing store plus neighbouring buildings to make way for a modern retail space.
You know, King Edward Street's been a bit depressed for a while, has been affected by floods and just really hasn't had much investment. But it's a prime site, you know, there's 12,000 cars go past here every day. So yeah, we think it's a great opportunity to put a nice new building, give the people of South Dunedin, you know, a nice new building and be a great space for Dunedin business.
Stott is planning to create a new 3-storey building with 3,000 square metres of offices in the upper 2 floors and car parks and retail space on ground level.
With 2 floors of offices. Be attractive for retailers to be beneath those offices, and you know, it's going to be a nice new building. It's going to be a great place to have a business.
Stott says he hopes to salvage materials from the original buildings and incorporate them into the new construction, and he'll also retain one of the neighbouring sites as a heritage building.
The South City Chinese restaurant, we plan to refurbish that one as a heritage building. It's got some really nice features, and we thought it'd be nice to have a mix of old and new in the block. Demolition may start in the next few months, with the new building possibly ready by the end of next year. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, an electric bus is trialled on Dunedin streets, and a support dog is a contender for an international award. So see you after the break. Welcome back. If you see a bright yellow bus on Dunedin streets, the chances are it's an electric one. Designed and manufactured in Rolleston, the electric bus is being trialled by the Otago Regional Council to see how it performs on Dunedin's roads.
This 35-seater electric bus started its month-long trial with the Dunedin bus fleet yesterday. The vehicle was designed and built by Global Bus Ventures in Rolleston, just south of Christchurch. Chief Operating Officer Mike Parker says his company has been making electric buses for 2 decades.
Our first pure electric was actually done back in 2007, which is still operating in Adelaide in Australia at the moment. So it's a well-proven product. It's just taken a long time for the market to mature and start to pick them up.
Nigel Piper of GoBus says it was his company that approached the Otago Regional Council with the suggestion that this electric bus be given a month-long trial on Dunedin routes.
The trial it really is just a trial. So this bus is on loan. It will go back to where it should be, but hopefully it gives the council and the commuters a flavour of what's available out there. You know, they'll experience the smoothness of the bus. You know, it takes the hills really easily. It's very quiet. It's very comfortable, and it's the way of the future. So it gives them an early taste for it, and hopefully the council and others decide in the future they'll adopt it.
The bus's first day carrying passengers was on the flat St Clair to Normanby route, but it has proved just as effective with trials on Dunedin's steeper streets, and the manufacturers are hopeful their buses will be added to the Dunedin fleet.
Dunedin's got another tender coming out soon, so we were definitely keen and passionate about being able to develop local product and deliver it down here and support it.
Auckland City already has 9 buses, and Christchurch's fleet is set to grow to 25 in the near future. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Licking and sniffing your work colleagues and clients is generally not acceptable behaviour in a busy office. But on the rare occasions when Ella does it, exceptions are made because the K9 Otago University Students Association student support worker is good at her job, making it to the final 6 of the Top Dog with a Job competition.
They say every dog has its day, but Ella, the OUSA support dog, even has her own business card.
Actually, she often will lay down and like this, but she'll cross her paws. So that's sort of her signature move, and her business cards are actually an image of her her sitting like that. So
Ella the Labrador is such a good girl. She's been selected as a finalist in the Top Dog with a Job category of the New Zealand Top Dog competition. Otago University Students Association Senior Student Advocate Dwayne Tate says Ella is a professional and is always a winner in their eyes.
Regardless of the outcome, obviously she's a top dog in our eyes. So, and I think if you asked most of the students who know her, who come by, I'm sure they would say the same.
The winner of the New Zealand Top Dog competition is due to be announced this afternoon. And while Ella's colleagues are excited to see if she wins, Ella herself is pretty chilled out about it. For her, the day will be no different from any other, and she'll be happy doing her duties as usual, being there for students going through issues.
Oftentimes students come in here seeking support for those things, and Ella will honestly greet them at the door sometimes, and she plays a huge role in just comforting the students that are coming in. You know, they may have come here at a low point, you know, so she plays a huge role in just comforting them and supporting them in that way.
Tate says Ella is a rescue dog, originally from South Africa, where it's believed she had a traumatising puppyhood. So Tate's now pleased she's able to help humans in need at the OUSA. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A Dunedin cafe changed hands just a day before the start of last month's lockdown. The new owners say having to shut down was a frightening challenge, but business is now back to a level that will hopefully allow them to survive.
When Ivan Mason and his partner Donna Hall took over Mokha Cafe on the ground floor of Otago House on the 16th of August, it was their first step into the hospitality business. Unfortunately, it was just a day before the country went into lockdown.
We've got no experience in hospitality at all. So what better way to start than to buy a cafe and then go straight into lockdown?
Mason says there was a lot of pressure and uncertainty about how to suddenly shut the business down.
That evening, it was just, I've never seen the town so busy. It was gridlock, there was cars everywhere, and we had a whole lot of food that had been prepared on the Monday, so we were all ready to go for the week, and then all of a sudden we had to what do we do? How do we freeze some stuff? What do we needed to work with the chef and take stuff home, and it was pretty terrifying.
Mason says the government subsidies have helped the business survive, but the cafe is just getting by, just like many other businesses across the country.
But the whole country was in the same situation, so at the end of the day you just had to roll with it. Yeah.
Despite a lot of people still working from home, the cafe has returned to a steady pace under Alert Level 2, with business now back to 70% on what it was this time last year. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, 2 former students start a business sorting out student furniture, and a small town north of Christchurch battles a busy highway through their town centre. So see you after the break. Thanks for staying with us. About 70 small engine motorbikes are set to take part in an annual scooter rally in Wanaka. The event is organised by a Wanaka local who has just finished a 1.5-year restoration of a Yamaha commuter bike dating back to 1978.
Wanaka scooter enthusiast Paul Van Klink is proud of his almost immaculate Yamaha RD50, which probably first saw action on New Zealand roads more than 40 years ago.
Quite a few of these came into New Zealand in the 70s as commuter bikes, and so this was one of the first 50cc bikes with a disc brake, actually. In fact, it's my only bike that I've got with a disc brake because it's the latest model that I've got. All my other bikes are earlier model than this.
Van Klink clearly loves vintage commuter bikes, and it's taken him a while to get this little beauty going, because when he bought it on Trade Me a year and a half ago, it was just a pile of parts.
Didn't have a motor, it didn't have a headlight, didn't have indicators, but it had a lot of other bits and pieces, and I put it together pretty much how it came out of the factory in 1978.
Van Klink says the restoration was slowed down because he had to source several missing items from online traders.
In a couple of days I'll be test driving it on the road. All the lights work, indicators work,
So I've done as much as I can in here, and now it's ready to hit the Wanaka, streets of Wanaka.
Van Klink also organises the annual Upper Clutha Scooter Hooter Rally, with about 70 people expected to turn up to this year's event in the first week of October, with funds raised going towards the restoration of Bullock Creek. In Wanaka, the South Today.
A Dunedin startup is solving the nightmare of organising flat furniture and cracking students up while doing it. Former Otago University students Angus Syme and Cameron Lee co-founded the Flat Pack company while in their first year at Cumberland College Residential Hall.
What began as a bedroom business is now a fully fledged business fitting out bedrooms. Creators Angus Syme and Cameron Lee co-founded the Flat Pack company a few years ago and employed a couple of social media savvy guys to help them market their beds to students.
Fladman is a word that they have sort of made, which is the admin that comes with flatting, so that's what they wanted to erase with their company. So instead of having to go halfway across town and put a mattress on your roof and drive to your flat, they deliver it the day you move in, so it sort of erases Fladman. Yeah.
Just cancels it altogether, really.
Yeah.
Ryan Forlong and Bryn Fredheim are the marketing arm of the Flat Pack, who were initially employed to help promote a $1,000 giveaway. The pair say their proximity to the guys who began the business meant they were kind of Johnnies on the spot.
Well, we were in the same hall as Cam and Angus in Cumberland, and we've lived with Angus every year since flatting, so we've sort of always been around the Flat Pack but not involved until last year. We made a little flat Instagram which was just for funny videos, and Angus had the idea this year that why don't you guys make a giveaway video and see how it goes. And it went really well, so from then on it was just like a video a week sort of thing, which wasn't really feeling like work.
No.
Just having a laugh and being super goofy.
Yeah.
The business is growing rapidly, in some parts thanks to Forlong and Fredheim's antics on Instagram and other social media platforms. The pair are clearly not afraid to lampoon themselves. The kit set beds come in cardboard boxes standing at the height of an average person. And Flat Pack creators say it takes about 15 minutes to assemble a bed.
Service is to deliver it the day you move in, and we'll carry it into your room for you if it's up the stairs or whatever. Takes about 15 minutes to set up. It's really straightforward, so it's not part of the process.
The Dunedin startup had $5,000 to kick the business off, and so far it's proving very successful. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The towns of Woodend and Pegasus are finally being catered to by the first supermarket to be opened in their growing community. But as the community grows, the issues with State Highway 1, which goes right through the middle of Woodend, also need to be addressed.
Who ever thought you could get excited about a supermarket opening? But I wasn't the only one.
Woodend Sefton Community Board Chairperson Shona Powell is pleased with the opening of the first supermarket to cater to the growing population of the Woodend urban area, which includes the growing communities of Pegasus and Ravenswood. But Woodend, which straddles State Highway 1 just north of Christchurch, has many locals struggling with all the cars and trucks that pass through their community.
As you can see in the background, the traffic through Woodend is constant. We've got people that actually do feel trapped in their homes. They look at their clock and think, oh no, I can't go out. I've left it too late. Sunday afternoon, the traffic is bumper to bumper, heading south through Woodend.
Powell says that more needs to be done in response to the busy highway that bisects Woodend.
We need something that creates some breaks in the traffic, and we've been consulting with NZTA about that, but just not making much headway at the moment.
The only roundabout on this stretch of State Highway 1 is just north of Woodend, at the entrance of the newly developed township of Pegasus. But with traffic speed limited to 70 kilometres per hour, many see the roundabout as an unsafe place for pedestrians to cross the road.
The community board would actually like an underpass put there for pedestrians and cyclists. With the opening of the supermarket, the future development in Ravenswood, it's needed now.
With the local population expected to double over the next few decades to more than 15,000, there's a long-standing proposal to eventually build a bypass to divert State Highway 1 traffic away from the town centre. In Woodend, the South Today.
And that wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news from across the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.